Cal, good to see you, brother. How you doing? How you been? Pure, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening. How does the market look going into next week? Well, we have some data to go through on tonight's live show, but we also have the bankers meeting next week as well. So the central bank meeting is happening next week, where all the bank governors are coming together to discuss matters of how the market space is in general and how the banking world is. So the data that comes out the central bank's meeting is next week going to have a major effect on the market space, depending on what they do discuss on the matters of, are they discussing CBDCs, are they discussing the banking world in general, or the CPI data, is that going to be a factor in their discussions? So the bank meeting is going to be happening next week, is going to have the biggest impact from my point of view. Also, more data to come from the Feds, that's also going to have a major impact as well. So there's a lot of things happening next week in general. That's going to have major plays inside the market space. Manny, evening. Good to see you. So how you doing, Manny? So that's what I would say, Camel, to that regarding next week. George, good to see you. So how you doing? How you been? Cody Clothing, good to see you. So how you doing? How you been? Dennis, good to see you. So how you doing? How you been? Joe, good to see you. So evening. How you doing? So, on tonight's live show, we are going to go through a mixture of topics as usual. I'll do a gist of what we're going to talk about on tonight's live show, then the intro, disclaimer, and by that time everyone's tuned in for the first part of the live show. So, the first news we're going to discuss on tonight's live show is regarding the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve is essentially about to have its toughest week yet, which is quite relatable to Camel's question as well regarding the Federal Reserve. But the Federal Reserve is also about to have its toughest week yet. I'm going to go through why it's going to be its toughest week yet on tonight's live show. It's the first news we're going to go through. Then we're going to be going through the news regarding France and China regarding the real estate market space. The real estate market space is not doing too well. Now, I did reveal on this live show about a few nights ago that France's economy in terms of the real estate market space is doing incredibly bad. And the real estate markets in France is tumbling quite bad, actually. There's a lot of real estate agents that are closing back to back because of sales of properties are drastically going down. China is going through the same issue once again in terms of the real estate market space. Is relatable to the French market space as well. So we're going to go through that on tonight's live show. We're also going to be talking about a person that left JP Morgan a while ago and decided to create their own, essentially, blockchain project, a decentralized project. And we're going to go through what she's accomplished so far, and is she going to be doing something revolutionary in terms of the DeFi space is what she's aiming for. But she is a former member of JP Morgan who was lead in charge of JP Morgan's whole blockchain department, and now she has her own blockchain projects going on. So we're going to go through what she's building on tonight's live show as well. We're also going to be talking about Brian Armstrong on tonight's live show as well. His new vision for cryptocurrency wallets is, so the CEO essentially of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, his new vision for cryptocurrency wallets is AI technology and how we can integrate AI technology to revolutionize cryptocurrency wallets. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding Bloomberg experts coming out with their opinions on the matter of Bitcoin. And is Bitcoin about to be going through some turbulence is what Bloomberg is discussing right now. And we're going to be talking about the Norwegian pension funds. Apparently, each Norwegian now indirectly holds $27 in Bitcoin as the sovereign wealth fund increase its crypto investments. So Norwegian's sovereign wealth fund has definitely increased its investments in the Bitcoin ETF space, which gives it an indirect hold for each person in Norwegian. Each person in Norwegian technically does hold $27 worth of Bitcoin indirectly because of this matter. We're also going to be talking about the Ripple CLO on tonight's live show as well. He's made a public verdict. He's made a public announcement regarding how the public feels, how the corporations feel about the Ripple case so far and how everything went down. So those are the news topics we are going to be discussing on tonight's live show. We're also going to be discussing another tokenization project that's just came out of nowhere, but I'll leave that one to the end. Now, before we go through the first news topic, which is essentially the Federal Reserve and how we are going to be heading towards our toughest week yet, according to the Federal Reserve, and how that can impact the market space. Welcome to the CMF Live Show. Before we go for any of that, welcome to the CMF Live Show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, welcome. On this live show, you can tune in every single night, and I talk about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrency, CBDCs, AI, politics, and regulations. Vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital era. And we also do live Q&As on this live show as well, which means you can ask the questions and I'll give you the answers. And we are live as usual on X and YouTube at the exact same time as usual. And the disclaimer on this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So welcome to the CMF Live Show if you're watching this for the first time ever. And if you're a regular, let's go CMF. By the way, thank you so much to everyone that's been liking this live show right at the beginning and retweeting this live show on X and liking this live show on X because we get notifications. And thanks so much to everyone on YouTube also who's been liking this live show as well. And if you already aren't following, subscribe. Now, the first news we've got on the Federal Reserve. Before we go through that, let's go to the comment section first. Let's see what's going on in the comment section, and then we'll go through the first news. By the time everyone's tuned in for the first spot, see where we were at. We were at Joe. Good to see you. How you doing? Evening. Hey up. Woodhouse. Good to see you. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Anna. Good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Let's go, Anna. Pablo. Good to see you. How you doing? Greetings, Miles. Lena. Good to see you. How you doing? Hello, Miles and my CMF family. Scott, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening, Miles and family. Ian, good to see you as well. How you doing? Scott, also, I've still got to reply back to your direct message on Telegram. I haven't forgotten. I'm going to reply back to straight after this live show. Apologies about that, Scott. Miles, how are your parents? How are you doing today? Business, good, busy. And parents doing well as well. Thank you so much for asking. I'm doing okay. Let's go, Scott. Good evening, Professor Miles and the rest of the family. Funky brother, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Let's go, Ian. Do you think markets start pumping in September once rate cuts happen? Okay, regarding rate cuts, technically the crypto markets shouldn't be acting positive towards rate cuts because the crypto market is technically built to go against traditional assets, traditional finance, in other words, so to hedge against inflation and so on. But things are playing out very differently this time around, and rate cuts could impact the market in a positive way because the crypto market in general, Bitcoin, for example, Bitcoin is technically developed to go against inflation. However, Bitcoin reacts oppositely to essentially inflation. When the stock market goes down, Bitcoin follows. When inflation gets bad, Bitcoin doesn't react in a positive way. It goes down like the rest of the market. So it's due to who's holding these crypto projects. The amount of manipulation inside the crypto space is at its almost high, and it can get much more worse in terms of manipulation inside the crypto space. I mean, I've always said if you look at how much manipulation inside the market space, just look at who's holding it regarding Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrencies. And there are too many institutions holding Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, too many institutions, too many massive corporations around the world, too many banks and too many governments are quite ridiculously holding quite a lot of cryptocurrencies. They're going to be holding a lot more as we progress moving forward as well. So the manipulation is absolutely crazy. And what I would say is the inflation situation regarding rate cuts could go either way in that matter. Genuinely could go either way in that matter. But rate cuts in general are good because investors tend to have a lot more money to spend when we do have rate cut situations happening. And by investors, I mean Wall Street investors. Now, I hope you're well and everyone else is watching in good spirit. Let's go, Funky Brother. How you doing? Hello, Miles and CMF. Let's share the program. I just did. Let's go, Scott. Thanks, Miles. Let's go, Scott. Thank you so much for sharing the program, Scott. I guess I will say hello, Long. JP, good to see you as well. How you doing? Now, I saw your notification, JP, regarding, I'll say hello to the 2% of the CMF. Hey, Miles, how you doing today? Daniel, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Evening, Miles, the CMF. Joe, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How you been? Evening, Miles and Crypto Peeps. Semper, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Free and Feather, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Mines of Dollar DAR price prediction skyrockets possible 500x is for more underlying money. How do you transfer ACH to Tangent after buying ETH? if you have, because ETH is going to be the gas token for any sort of Ethereum chain projects, so what you have to do is transfer some ETH first to your Tangent wallet. First, actually set up ACH to be able to receive ACH on any cold wallet you want to use. Then transfer some Ethereum to that cold wallet and leave some Ethereum behind to be able to do the transaction. But if you're doing the transaction from an exchange, you don't need to leave some Ethereum behind. Just send the Ethereum to the wallet. If you're doing wallet to wallet transfer, leave some Ethereum in the first wallet and in the second wallet that you want to receive the ACH project in. So leave some Ethereum in the cold wallet, the Tangent wallet, before you transfer any asset that's on ETH. So send the Ethereum first. Don't send all of it if it's the wallet-to-wallet transaction. If it's exchange to wallet transaction, then send all the Ethereum. But if it's wallet-to-wallet, leave some Ethereum in the first wallet, leave some Ethereum in the second wallet to be able to cover the gas costs. To transfer once to that wallet and whenever you want to transfer back out. It's my birthday in 20 minutes. Joe, let's go. In 20 minutes is your birthday. So basically 19th is your birthday. Let's go, Joe. Well, everybody remember, in about 20 minutes exactly is Joe's birthday inside the CMF. He's a CMF member as well. He's inside the comment section. About 20 minutes. Let's go, Joe. This group proudly supports Miles 100%. Hoo-ha. First Sergeant. Let's go, Scott. Thanks so much for the kind words, brother. Now, first news. The first topic on tonight's live show is regarding the Federal Reserve and how the toughest week yet is about to be happening for the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is heading into what could be the toughest week in a long time. The central bank is about to face a series of challenges that will have everyone from Wall Street to Main Street paying close attention. Things kick off with the Fed's annual meetup in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Chair Jerome Powell will give a speech that's expected to set the tone for the next coming, essentially for what's coming next. He's got to walk a fine line, laying out a plan without locking the Fed into a course that could backfire. Jerome Powell's balancing act. The Fed got essentially caught with its pants down before underestimating the inflation surge. They called it a treasonry regarding that it's a mistake and still haunting them. As Quincy Crosby, the chief globalist, essentially at LPL Financial puts it, they were late to what they were supposed to be doing. They don't want to make a mistake on this side of the equation. What's at stake here is how the Feds react now that inflation seems to be cooling off. Recent data shows consumer prices have slowed down to their weakest place, essentially over the 3 years. Wholesale prices barely moved in July. Spending was stronger than expected, and layoffs have mostly leveled out. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Housing is still a complete mess. Construction starts and permits hit a 4-year low in July. Wages are going up, but not fast enough to outpace inflation by much. And imports are showing inflation's ugly face, raising at their highest rates since December 2022. Rate cuts when? Despite the mixed bag of data, most people in the market think that the Fed should start cutting interest rates soon. The Fed's track record isn't perfect, and as Crosby put it, this is not an exact science. It's probably as much as an art form as it is as science. The longer the Fed waits to cut, the more risk essentially they're taking. Right now, traders are betting on a quarter-point rate cut in September, with more cuts likely in November and December. The big fear is that the Fed might have to slash rates because of a full-blown crisis like the labor market collapsing or another economic disaster. No one wants an emergency rate cut. It's much better if it's measured response to inflation coming down. But not everyone agrees. Former essentially Fed Vice Chairman Richard, who was all about the transitory inflation idea back when it was in the game, he thinks that the Fed will cut rates in September. He said that the August non-farm payrolls report expected in early September will be a massive deal. Even though Jerome Powell says that the Fed is basically a data independent and not chasing every little data point, Richard thinks that if it's a disastrous report, negative payrolls, and a big rise in unemployment, then we'll go 50-50. So, regarding a question I was asked on the earlier part of the live show, which was from Kamal, are we going to be, what's going to be happening next week? Essentially, well, next week is we're going to have some information coming out from the Fed reports, essentially, on how the marketplace is going to be. We're also going to be having, obviously, the central bank meeting that's happening next week as well, which is a massive, major play inside the market space on one, what are the central banks going to be discussing at their normal board meetings that is going to be happening on all these central banks sitting at the same table? And two, are they going to be discussing blockchain technologies, CBDCs, cryptocurrencies? We're going all these central bankers coming together next week. So we have that happening next week, but we also have some information coming out from the Fed next week as well, which is both of them are going to have crucial plays. The Fed will obviously have a much more bigger crucial play, but depending on what is discussed at the central banks meeting with all these central bank governors from around the world, that could also have a massive play inside the crypto space. If it's there, if the topic is crypto related or CBDC related, that could also have a massive play on the market space as well. It could be positive or negative. Now, the next news to talk about on tonight's live show, but those are two factors that you definitely have to look out for regarding data that comes out from the Fed. And I'll definitely keep people updated on this live show every single night regarding any sort of reports that do come out from the Fed. So definitely tune in. If it's your first time tuning in every single night. Now, the next topic we're going to talk about on tonight's live show is regarding the real estate market space. The real estate market space is doing terrible. And it's not just in one particular country. It started out in France, where France's essentially economy in terms of real estate market space is doing absolutely very bad. Actually, in reality, it's doing incredibly bad, where a lot of agencies, real estate agencies, big corporations have decided to close their shops completely, and a lot of people lost their jobs. The housing crisis in France is actually reached quite a low point. Also, on the same side, on the same topic, China is going through a difficulty related to real estate market space as well. Now, we all know what happened last time when China had a real estate crisis. It was a massive real estate company that went belly up and went completely sideways and took the stock market and the crypto market with it. So we all know what will happen if China goes through another real estate situation. Now, China has been trying to keep a tight track on their real estate market space, trying to make sure they don't have any sort of situations going sideways. But it seems like it's getting out of control regarding their real estate space market. It's getting very bad. It's coming to France's level, where France is also trying to keep things on the silent, but it's not really working out for France either. And it's not going to be working out for China. If it doesn't work out for China, keeping it silent or trying to fix it somehow, then we all know what's going to be happening inside the market space if that real estate market does impact it once again. Things can play out the same way, or they can play out different. If because cryptocurrencies were designed to go against traditional assets. So if people just realize that matter, it would be perfect. But in reality, the real estate market goes and the market starts getting very volatile. In reality, it shouldn't, because the crypto market should be a hedge against all these types of inflation situations, these crisis situations. But unfortunately, there's too much manipulation inside the crypto market, and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Now, France is not alone. The real estate crisis is also hitting China. The global real estate market is shaken by a crisis of unpredicted magnitudes, affecting both emerging giants and mature economics. In China, once a spearhead of global growth, the collapse of the real estate investment highlights the flaws of a development model based on the frantics of what's happening right now. This brutal fall, much more than a simple cyclical slowdown, resonates as a warning for the global economy. Meanwhile, in France, another stronghold of stability is wavering as well, with a essentially real estate crisis marked by the continued decline in prices and unpredicted waves of bankruptcies among agencies. These two phenomena, seemingly distant, essentially reveal a common vulnerability and raise the question of a possible global disturbance. The dizzying drop in real estate investments in China. China, once an unstoppable market space, a global growth market space, now seen as one of its economic pillars, dangerously wavering. Between January and July, real estate investments in the country fell by 10.2%, a tumble that says a lot about the state of health of this essential sector. For essentially far from the years of uncontrolled expansion, the Chinese real estate market is now facing a much darker reality. Over independent developers, slowing demand, and tamed essentially measures that struggle to reassure investors. This decline is much more than a simple statistic, reflects a exhaustion of economic models that has relied on it for decades for construction and repaid essentially building the market space for going real estate. The constructions, they're not doing too well. This situation is all very alarming as it fits into a context of growing distance towards the Chinese market. Once perceived as a safe haven regarding the Chinese real estate market, the government's effort to stabilize the sector through regulations and financial support are met with a loss of confidence from investors, both domestic and international investors. The weakness of these measures, combined with the scale of developer debt crisis, suggests a prolonged crisis with potentially devastating repercussions for the Chinese economy and, by extension, for the global economy. You know why the global markets, the global real estate market will be affected by China's real estate market? Well, because China has quite a lot of real estate companies that do operate worldwide and do a lot of developments around the world. I mean, there are massive Chinese corporations, construction companies that are within the UK, for example, within Canada, Australia, United States, the EU, and the list goes on. Amount of countries that, essentially China does have a pull in when it comes to real estate market space. So if these major corporations are having difficulties with customers and investors regarding domestic or international customers, and these companies slowly going bust, chaptering in Chapter 11, Chapter 15 bankruptcies, then we could have a massive real estate market space going completely sideways, and China being the one that starts it off. So the French real estate crisis, a market in full decomposition. Now, while China faces a rapid situation happening of its real estate market, France is not spared by this global crisis either. Within its own market in turmoil, long perceived as a bastion of stability, the French real estate sector is going through an unprecedented severe crisis as well. The continued decline in prices combined with drastic drops in transactions highlights this market space of once flourishing market. Despite a slight decrease in interest rates initiated by the European Central Bank, the market remains frozen, caught in essentially ways of where supply no longer meets demand, which is massive. That's basically the first indications of an entire market space trying to go sideways. The crisis is not limited to a simple price correction. It is accompanied by a real estate hemorrhage in professional sector with unprecedented waves of bankruptcies among real estate agencies. The National Federation of Real Estate Agents, the FNAIM, reports a staggering 112% increase in agency bankruptcies over the past 12 months. That is a staggering high number to have 112% increase in real estate agencies, massive agencies, small and medium-sized agencies, 112% increase on them essentially filing for bankruptcy. A figure that testifies to the magnitude of the crisis that's happening right now inside the real estate market space, which nobody's talking about. The real estate crisis striking essentially China and France reveals a structural weakness that cannot be ignored. While the current situation calls for drastic economic and political adjustments, it also opens the door for profound reconstructing of the sector. This process will undoubtedly be a long and painful, but it is essential to restore confidence and stabilize these markets in the turmoil. Yes, we can't have major essentially real estate companies going sideways, especially not Chinese real estate market space going sideways. And the last massive Chinese construction company that did go sideways, they had massive projects going on within London, within the EU, the US, Canada. This company was absolutely massive, and it went completely sideways, filing in for bankruptcy. And the stock market went absolutely volatile, and so did the crypto market. It reacted quite bad to that news regarding China's massive real estate company. And that Chinese real estate company pretty much supplied about 5% of China's valuation regarding the GDP, which is quite massive as well, the last one that we did have. Now, is the market going to react the same way? It depends on the magnitude of the companies that are involved that are about to be filing for bankruptcies. But according to the FNAIM, which is the Federation of Real Estate Agents, there's about 112% increase in agencies' bankruptcies over the past 12 months that nobody's talking about inside the market space. The real estate market does impact the crypto market and the stock market, and not a single person inside the crypto space is talking about the real estate agencies that are back-to-back filing in for bankruptcies for the past 12 months. Now, these are small, medium, and large corporations that are filing in for bankruptcies. But once we get essentially the whales of these construction companies is when we're going to have a big turmoil situations in the market space. So I'll definitely keep people updated as we go along regarding the real estate market space, because it definitely does impact the market without a doubt. And if you're essentially notified beforehand, you can have a chance to buy some things at a discount. Obviously not financial advice in any sort of a way, but the market will get volatile, which means prices will drop on crypto assets and the stock market, depending on which market space you want to go for. But definitely keep people updated if you want to get something on sale regarding crypto projects. Not financial advice in any sort of a way, but I'll keep you updated on the matter as we go along every day on this live show. Now, a member that used to work for JP Morgan. She used to work for JP Morgan. She was actually one of the people in charge of JP Morgan's blockchain center, is now developing her own project. She left JP Morgan for a while and she decided to build her own blockchain project. And we're going to go through what she's exactly trying to build and what she's trying to achieve. And she was one of the people in charge of JP Morgan's blockchain department. So she has some credibility based on where she previously used to work and based on what she used to previously lead in, which was JP Morgan's blockchain department. So Amber essentially is what we're going to be talking about next. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. Denise, good evening. Good to see you. How you doing? Happy birthday, Joe. Have a great day. Let's go. Anna, Miles, regarding XRP, we believe Ripple won't appeal and pay the fine. However, I've heard that the SEC has 60 days to appeal and will appeal. But how can they once Ripple pay the $125 million fine? Okay, because the SEC can appeal parts of the case still. They can appeal parts of the case if Gary Gensler wants to. It's a losing battle for the SEC if they want to appeal for it. Even if Ripple pays the fine, the SEC still has a chance to essentially appeal parts of the case if they want to within a 60-day period. The 30-day period is for Ripple to pay the $125 million fine. The 60-day period is for the third party, which in this case being essentially the SEC, to appeal any part of the case. Now, one part of the case that they cannot particularly essentially appeal in is the regulatory standard of what XRP is, which is not a security. That part they can't have any sort of appeals happening for it. If they do, they're going to get rejected straight away. But other parts of the case they can appeal, because here's the thing. A lot of people say the Ripple case is bad for Ripple, the way it ended. Some people inside the crypto space will say the way the Ripple case ended, Ripple looks bad in front of companies, in front of other people and so on. And realistically, it doesn't. You see, the SEC got damaged quite bad with the whole Ripple case. The SEC has a case with Coinbase going on right now. They have a case with Binance going on, a case with Kraken, and a few other crypto platforms. Now, the case that essentially the SEC has with Kraken, Coinbase, Binance, and all these crypto platforms are very similar cases, which is they're all selling securities. I mean, the SEC is suing Coinbase, and they listed Solana, Cardano, and a few File and a few other projects that are securities, apparently, according to the SEC. Now, if you go back to the Ripple case, which just pretty much came to an end, full-on end, which is any project that's been sold through secondary markets is technically not a security, was pretty much the verdict of this entire case, which is any project that was sold on any crypto exchange is not a security, and therefore XRP is not a security, which means the Coinbase case that the SEC is battling against, essentially the SEC case regarding Coinbase that they're battling, or Kraken or Binance case, they're all similar cases, which is the SEC claiming they're all selling unregistered securities. Now, the Ripple case states that if anything sold on secondary markets, it's done deal. Anything sold on secondary markets is not a security, which means the Coinbase case is now affected in a positive way because of the Ripple case. So is the Binance case, and so is the Kraken case. So the idea of these people coming out essentially and saying, oh, the Ripple case is bad the way it ended, and Ripple has to pay $125 million, and nobody's going to look at Ripple. Constructions don't look at, the corporate sector doesn't look at Ripple anymore. Their credit score is bad. It's all absolute BS. The Ripple case actually damaged the SEC quite badly, where they're very affected with the rest of their cases that they have going on right now. Badly, they're affected with the rest of the cases they have going on right now. Because with the SEC and Gary Gensler claiming Cardano or essentially Solana or Filecoin through Coinbase as a security, that's just basically nonsense now, because due to the result of the Ripple case. So you can see the magnitude and the effect the Ripple case essentially had on the SEC, which has damaged the rest of the cases they have going on right now. So if Gary Gensler wants to, so Gary Gensler still has a chance of an appeal within that 60-day period, because the rest of their cases have pretty much went south because of the verdict of the Ripple case, which is why it really impacts the SEC in a bad way, and it impacts Gary Gensler in a bad way. Now, I said there is a chance, even if Gary Gensler does appeal. I mean, there's a chance of him appealing, but the chance of Gary Gensler being able to continue this case forward is there's zero possibility of any judge essentially approving an appeal situation from Gary Gensler, but he can still appeal within a 60-day period if he wants to appeal any part of that case. The issue for the SEC and Gary Gensler is they can't appeal the very part of their case, of the Ripple case, that they really want to appeal. The only part the SEC and Gary Gensler want to appeal in the Ripple case is XRP not being a security or being a security. Is the only part Gary Gensler wants to appeal. And that's the only part they can't appeal, because they know they'll get rejected straight away. So there's no point of the SEC appealing, but if they do appeal, they get rejected straight away. And the only reason the SEC and Gary Gensler want to appeal that one particular part of the Ripple case, which is XRP a security or not on secondary markets, because it's affecting the rest of the cases they have going on right now. They have a case with Coinbase, which is a major issue because it's secondary markets, so they're not securities, as the SEC claims. They have a case with Kraken, they're not securities because of the Ripple case results. They have a case with Binance, they're not securities because of the Ripple case and all. So Gary Gensler and the SEC are stifled right now. They're confused and stifled, and so they might react in a bad way and try to appeal the case, but they won't get any sort of results whatsoever from the matter at all. So they can appeal within that 60-day period, but they'll get rejected. There's no point. The one part they want to appeal, they can't appeal. So any part of the Ripple case, the rest of the parts they can appeal for if they want to, but it's a long losing battle for them. And also, congressmen have pointed out that the Ripple case has damaged essentially the SEC time, money, resources. They actually mentioned the Ripple case once or twice inside of Congress, stating that Gary Gensler is abusing his power with Ripple case. He's wasting SEC's time and resources, and now Gary Gensler is on the verge of losing his job completely. Now, we know for a fact that Trump is going to make Gary Gensler lose his job on day one, but we also know, ironically, that there are rumors going around, even if by some miracle Kamala Harris makes it the presidency, she's also going to be getting rid of Gary Gensler as well. And the only reason Gary Gensler approved an Ethereum ETF straight away, which nobody expected it to be that quick. I expected it to get a green light, but not that quick. The only reason it was that quick is because Congress were cracking down on Gary Gensler and the SEC at that very moment in time, which is why he gave the green light. So Gary Gensler knows he's about to lose his job. He knows that battling Ripple in a case was an absolute loss for the entire SEC department, because the rest of their cases are badly affected. So in a scenario, they can appeal, but they'll never get the green light they'll need in any part of their appeal. And the one part they want to appeal, they can't even appeal. So is there a point of them even appealing? No. If they appeal, will it make the market volatile? Yes. But will it get approved? Hell no. Their appeal will never get approved. And the one part they want to appeal, the only part they want to appeal, they can't appeal. And that one part is affecting the rest of their cases right now. So when, essentially Ripple says they did win the case, they did win the case because the SEC is stifled now. The SEC and Gary Gensler is affecting the rest of their cases right now. And Joe, happy birthday as well. It's 02. Happy birthday, brother. But yeah, they can appeal in that 6-day period, but they won't. Because the only part they want to appeal, they really can't. But happy birthday, brother. And everyone from the CMF, it's Joe Zemper's birthday. He's also a member of the CMF. He's inside the comment section right now. Let's see where we were at. You can all send me some XRP if you like. What Joe said. Happy birthday, Joe. Early birthday, Joe. Thanks for everyone. Denise, good to see you as well. How you doing? Orphan, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Amazing. Thanks for that great answer, Mouse. Let's go, Joe. Joe, let's go. Thank you. No problem. So, a person that used to work, Amber. So Amber used to work, as I said previously, Amber used to work for JP Morgan, and she was in charge of the blockchain center essentially for the blockchain department for JP Morgan as well. And now she's decided to do her own crypto project. So Amber and Clover, innovating the future of decentralized apps. Amber Ballett transitioned from leading JP Morgan's Blockchain Center of Excellence to co-founding her own crypto project, driving innovation in decentralized applications. Clover focuses on privacy and security in decentralized app development, raising over $6.84 million in early stage fundings. So this is definitely a project to look into. Not for buying into in any sort of way. And I don't think anybody can buy into it as of now because she is still raising funds through seed money. But she was essentially in charge of JP Morgan Chase, essentially the blockchain department. She was completely in charge of that department. And now she has her own blockchain project going on. She's raising seed money. So it's definitely a project to look out for from Amber. So Amber Ballett's journey into the world of blockchain began within the towering walls of JP Morgan Chase, where she led a blockchain center of excellence in a sector where established financial behemoths. And essentially, Amber's contribution was nothing short of revolutionary within JP Morgan. She was tasked for researching the potential of blockchain technology by JP Morgan, which promised to transform the banking sector by increasing transparency, security, and efficiency. Her work with Corium, JP Morgan enterprise-focused blockchain platform, established her as a notable player in the financial community. Despite her success at JP Morgan, Amber's ambition went far beyond the constraints of a single company. She saw blockchain technology's potential to democratize access to financial services and empower individuals outside of traditional banking systems. This essentially vision drove her to make a critical decision back in 2018, leaving her high-profile post at JP Morgan and launching a new startup company that would shake the fundamentals underpinnings of how decentralized applications were designed and delivered. Clover's inception, a vision beyond JP Morgan's blockchain limits. Amber's resignation from JP Morgan sparked a great intriguing and suspicion regarding her fintech world. What will she do next? The answer arrived fast with the creation of Clover, a company she co-founded with Patrick Nielsen, another former JP Morgan blockchain executive. So these are both blockchain executives from JP Morgan who decided to create their own platform, a decentralized platform. Clover was more than just another blockchain business. It was a visionary concept aiming at building a new ecosystem for decentralized apps. At its core, Clover wants to make it easier for developers to create, compare, and deploy decentralized applications. The platform offers a greenhouse environment in which users may access a variety of tools aimed at helping developers create secure, scalable, and privacy-focused DApps, essentially. Decentralized apps. This was a natural extension of Amber's work at JP Morgan, but with a broader scope. Clover was designed to serve the needs of developers and organizations globally, not just a single bank. Prioritizing privacy and security in decentralized app developments. Amber's dedication to privacy and security is one of the motivating factors behind Clover. In an age where data breaches and privacy violations are well too common, Clover provides a solution that emphasizes these values. The platform enables developers to create applications that prioritize user privacy while remaining functional and user-friendly. This focus has struck a chord with a growing community of developers and businesses worried about the security implications of their products. Amber has spoken extensively about the importance of tools that allow developers to make educated decisions about the privacy and security of their applications. Clover offers a framework in which these issues are embedded into the development process from the start. Rather than as an afterthought, these strategies establish Clover as a forerunner in the push for more secure and private decentralized technologies. Overcoming challenges, Clover's path to secure and strategic investments. Clover, like any other business, has had its fair share of hurdles. Building a platform that meets the demands of both developers and companies is no easy task. However, under Amber's guidance, Clover has overcome these obstacles and secured significant investment. The company has raised more than $6.84 million in early-stage venture finance, including investments from Dell Technologies Finance and Morpheus Ventures. This money has been critical in allowing Clover to continue its growth and expand its offerings. These investors' support demonstrates that their conviction in Amber's vision and Clover's potential to significantly impact the blockchain ecosystem. The company's success in raising funds demonstrates the growing interest in decentralized applications and their importance in the future of technology. Aside from her work at Clover, Amber is a prominent person inside the broader blockchain community. She is a popular speaker at industry conferences and continues to push for the proper advancements for blockchain technology. Her insights in the section of privacy, security, and decentralizations have earned her respect in discussions regarding blockchain in the future. Amber's narrative is one of the deviating from the usual corporate road to follow a vision that is both daring and innovative. Her work at Clover is more than about just developing a profitable company. It is about determining the future of decentralized technology, development and use in a young business. Amber essentially initiatives are laying in the framework for more secure and digital society. So Amber is building a massive project regarding security. Security is a big fear regarding corporations entering the blockchain space. Then one of the main issues, the reason why I say one of the main issues, because there are multiple issues that are still going on and why some corporations are slowly entering the crypto space. One of them being regulations and the other one being security. Because the more we go digital, the more companies will fear that essentially things will go south. They might get compromised in the digital world. If all their finance and data is on the blockchain, is it secure enough for themselves, for their clients, and for their investors, and so on? So that's one of the biggest issues when it comes to these massive corporations entering the blockchain space. Security is a major play for them, where things can go south. And it does show there is a lot of data out there that does prove the more we're essentially transforming into this digital world, hacking and scamming has got quite essentially majorly advanced, where massive corporations have fallen as a victim. So don't think only people inside the crypto space fall to these crypto scams. There have been multiple companies that have fallen for scams. So it's not just people inside the crypto space who are new and getting scammed in the crypto space. There have been multiple companies around the world who have actually fallen for crypto scams as well. So that is a major issue, and Amber's coming in to solve it. She's the co-founder of Clover, and another person who's also a member of JP Morgan. They co-founded this project, and it's definitely a project I'm going to be keeping my eyes on, because security is key, definitely, in the digital future. Making sure that companies are safe on the blockchain and making sure that people's data is safe on the blockchain is definitely a key role, without a doubt. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on Clover, and I'll definitely keep people updated on Amber's progress, on how far she's gotten with her project. And the only reason I'm interested in this project, because I've seen multiple security projects, which some have piqued my interest due to the partnerships they have and the contracts they have going on. But the reason why this one piques my interest is because she's a former JP Morgan member who was in charge of JP Morgan's blockchain department, and another former JP Morgan member who was also an executive board member at JP Morgan, who have come together to build this project. And they've already raised seed money, about $6 million so far. These are early stages. So that's why it's piqued my interest, because of their background and because how easily they were able to raise seed money. So it's definitely a company to look out for regarding and security is a big issue, very, very major issue inside the crypto space. So that's why I'm definitely keeping people updated on Amber and her progress. And maybe she opens the doors for retail investors as well. If she does, I'm going to be definitely looking into it. No financial advice for anybody else, but I'll definitely keep people updated on how far her progress has gotten. Anything to do with banking and anything to do with massive corporations and blockchain technology is definitely always going to pique my interest, because this is the year that we have more institutions, more banks, and more regulations in play. And every year we're going to have more regulations, more banks, and more institutions. So that's definitely going to pique my interest always. Now, and bank and corporations equals money. It's very simple. Alex, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Everybody's saying happy birthday to Joe. Let's go. So Brian Armstrong is the next topic we're going to talk about on tonight's live show. Brian Armstrong's vision. AI with crypto wallets could revolutionize finance. So the CEO of Coinbase, his new business adventure is essentially combining AI technology with cryptocurrency wallets. And he says this is basically the future we're going to be heading towards. So just recently, Coinbase's CEO, Brian Armstrong, outlined a vision where artificial intelligence agents are equipped with cryptocurrency wallets to manage financial tasks. This shows a potential change in the digital finance space where AI could play a role in terms of transactions and other financial activities. Brian Armstrong's vision through the X space, has noted by Mario, suggesting that AI, particularly large language models like ChatGPT, could be integrated within crypto wallets to manage payments and engage in economic interactions independently. Brian Armstrong believes that these agents could execute financial tasks without human intervention by enabling AI systems to control crypto transactions. Now, the question does remain, are you going to let AI technology do crypto payments for you? So imagine, saying, hey, wallet, for example, let's say in this scenario, instead of saying, hey, Google or hey, Siri, imagine saying, hey, wallet, send money to this person this much, and the wallet will do it for you. But the wallet, the AI within your wallet, your cold wallet or your hot wallet, will have full permission from you. And it could also pull out its own transactions as well. That's the main issue. But it's just, would you let an AI have full control of your wallet? For example, ChatGPT in this case. It's a big ask in terms of that. So Brian Armstrong believes that these agents could execute financial tasks without a human involved by enabling AI systems to control cryptocurrency transactions. This approach could streamline processes, reduce the need for intermediaries, and potentially transform financial transactions in the digital economy. Recently, Coinbase debuted a $15,000 AI accelerator program. This project encourages developers and researchers to experiment with wallets, with integrating AI and cryptocurrency wallets. So this is something that Coinbase is not just mentoring, but they're actually venturing into. The program is designed to foster innovation in these two technologies, pushing the boundaries of what is possible in digital finance. Through this, Coinbase seeks to discover practical applications for AI-driven financial transactions, positioning itself at the lead of tech in crypto. Demonstration of AI in crypto payments. A recent demonstration highlighted the potential of AI in financial transactions, where an AI agent could complete the tasks and send cryptocurrency payments by itself autonomously. This example showcases the practicality of Brian Armstrong's vision, illustrating how AI could handle complex financial operations independently. The demonstration opens up various possibilities for automated transactions, from routine payments to more sophisticated financial management tasks. Brian Armstrong's proposal to equip AI with cryptocurrency wallets represents a forward-looking approach to digital finance as Coinbase continues to explore this integration through its AI accelerator program. The potential for AI-driven transactions may become a reality. This development could pave the way for more autonomous financial systems where AI agents could play a critical role in the future of digital transactions. So the question remains, before I go to the next news, which I'm going to be asking you now, will you let, for example, ChatGPT do cryptocurrency payments for you? Would anyone watching this live show right now, CMF members, or if you are new watching this live show for the first time ever, put your comments inside the comment section right now. Would you let ChatGPT have access to your crypto wallets, hot or cold wallets, for ChatGPT to do transactions for you? Or something similar to ChatGPT to do transactions for you without you doing anything to the wallet. So you can say, hey, wallet, send payment to this person, or hey, wallet, send payment to that person, or you can time in payments and it'll do it for you. Would you let an AI model have full access to your crypto wallets? Personally, for me, it's a bit crazy to be doing that. I don't trust people around my wallet, never mind ChatGPT. So I don't know about ChatGPT or any sort of AI language models having access to my crypto wallets. I don't even trust people to be around my wallet. Never mind ChatGPT or sort of AI language models. Imagine the AI malfunctions and decides to just empty out my crypto wallet and just send it to random people. Because it said that the AI will get to a stage where it wouldn't even need a response for you. The AI would just send out money without you being the middleman at all. So that part is a bit crazy. Happy Pisces, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? No, I won't trust AI to have access. No, hell no. This is what Funky Brother said. Joe said no. The other Joe said no as well. I don't trust no one. Funky Brother. Nope, said Alex. No, but I have a feeling down the road you might not have a choice. Yeah, unless we develop our own cold wallet. CoinMove is going to have his own cold wallet. Anybody can have access to it as well. Anybody else will buy a cold wallet later on. I trust myself and my own company, but not AI. Hell no. I would never trust AI. What do you consider as some of the main facts that make ACH a great investment option? Okay, the reason why I would say that ACH is a great project to look into is because they have multiple money transfer licensings. Money transfer licensings are not easy to get. A lot of companies, a lot of crypto projects have filed in to get some sort of money transfer licensings from well-established countries, or countries that are in the third world war, countries that are in the third world country. They're much more easy to get money transfer licensings. But if you want to get a money transfer license within the United States, within the UK, within the EU, and so on, it's a much more difficult task to be able to get a license. And ACH has already accomplished this, getting these licensings. And for you to get a license, a money transfer license, you would have to go through some procedures for them to check that you're not a fraudulent project, that you're not going to be using any sort of transactions for money laundering purposes, and so on and so on. There's a lot of checks and throughout checks that you would have to do to get some sort of money transfer license, and a lot of background checks to go with it. So for them to have multiple money transfer licensings, it shows confidence on the project itself for not being a fraudulent project or a project that's ever been involved in essentially any sort of illicit activities. So on that basis, them having that many money transfer licensings is a great point for ACH. Also, regarding ACH, regarding their contracts and partnerships, it goes a long way to show how much confidence their partners have, because one of their partners being MasterCard. But their list of partnerships is incredible, is what I would have to say. So definitely, ACH is an amazing project to look into. 100%. The finance category from the crypto space is always going to remain number one. I've always said this, and I always say it again. Number one category inside the crypto space is finance. Because we have many categories inside the crypto space. We have the gaming category, the Web3 category, the AI category, the data category, the finance category, the DGen categories, the meme coin category, and the list goes on. The number one category is finance. Money going digital is the number one category. And within that finance category, there's a lot of crypto projects, but you can boil it down to a few crypto projects within the finance category based on the contracts and licensings they have to be able to do money transfers between domestically or internationally. ACH has a lot of licensings regarding money transfer licensings, a lot. And they have a lot of essentially contracts within place as well. So honestly, ACH is an incredible project to look into. I wouldn't even trust my wife near my crypto wallet, let alone GPT. That's an interesting one. I wouldn't even trust my wife near my wallet, let alone ChatGPT. We have them systems pretty much in place now in certain areas. What I meant, we have systems like that now when you send money off, because I do your hands and you just hope for the best. No, AI cold wallet is my own space. Let's go, Cali. Yeah, honestly, AI near my wallet is a big no. Honestly, I think it's a project that maybe they shouldn't venture into because it's something private. There's a reason why we don't have automation payments on banking apps. There's a reason why Lloyds, Barclays, HSBC Bank, NatWest Bank, they don't have AI integrated with them, because it's a stupid idea giving AI access to your bank accounts. It's like when Apple ventured into the automotive space and everybody else ventured into AI technology around Apple, where Google went into AI, Microsoft went into AI, and Apple decided to build autonomous cars, which was a bust. So sometimes companies do bad movements and they'll realize later on, like Apple did, and lost about $10 billion on their Apple car. I don't even know one person who would line up to buy an Apple car. But sometimes companies do bad movements and pick wrong projects, and they'll realize later on down the road it was a stupid idea. And I think Coinbase, somewhere down the road, is going to realize, okay, maybe a AI having access to your cold wallet is a bad idea, because the whole point of a cold wallet is it's for you and nothing else has access to it, not even ChatGPT. So they're forgetting the fundamentals of a cold wallet and a hot wallet. The fundamentals of a wallet in the digital world is it's only for you and for you to keep it secure, not to give ChatGPT access to it. So I think they're forgetting the fundamentals of a crypto wallet, and they're just rummaging on stupid ideas. I would have to say that point of view. Honestly. Bloomberg is the next news we're going to go through on tonight's live show. Bloomberg's expert issues bearish Bitcoin warning as BTC reclaims 60,000. So Bloomberg experts have came out and given mixed opinions on the market space. Now, there are obviously Bloomberg experts out there as well, Bloomberg senior ETF specialist analysts who have also given their perspectives, who have been quite right inside the market space. Eric is being quite right inside the market space. James has had some correct movements as well inside in the crypto space. They are both essentially Bloomberg experts as well, Bloomberg ETF specialists. Now, here's some other essentially opinions regarding Bloomberg on their opinions right now inside the crypto space. So, in a recent post, Mike McGlone, senior commodities strategist at Bloomberg, warned that Bitcoin, the flagship cryptocurrency, could be leading to a reverse or essentially a risk of an asset situation. Its underwhelming performance since March has been gaining companions from the stock market as well as the commodities sector. Now, this is his perspective on the matter, but he's a Bloomberg expert. So I'm going to, take it with a pinch of salt, and I'll give you my perspective afterwards. So earlier this year, McGlone, now take everybody else's perspective inside the comment section as well. Now, earlier this year, McGlone predicted that gold could end up outperforming Bitcoin due to the macroeconomic factors. While this was not the case, gold recently managed to hit an all-time new high though. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is struggling to recover after its recent price plunge. Earlier this month, McGlone stated that Bitcoin's hangover might be enduring due to the unique combination of US ETF launches and supply cuts in the first quarter that pushed the cryptocurrency to record highs. The leading cryptocurrency reclaimed that 60,000 level on Sunday. However, it is still far from essentially regaining its current record high that was achieved in March. Born of a financial crisis and quantitative easing, Bitcoin has led most risk assets this year highs and may be doing some on the way back down, he said in another recent post. Earlier this month, McGlone also pointed out that Bitcoin had dropped below its upward sloping 200-day moving average, which suggests that the risk asset could be rolling over. At press time, the leading cryptocurrency trading at $59,611 on Bitstamp exchange, the Fed's upcoming rate cut is supposed to inject bullish optimism as well. However, it remains to be seen whether it will manage to put a ball back in the put the ball back in its courts. So, regarding what McGlone said, the expert from Goldman Sachs, is, I'll give you his perspective now. Oh, Lena, thank you so much for the £5 donation. That money is going straight into the CMF fund. Thank you so much, Lena. I appreciate all you do for us. Thank you so much, Lena, for the kind words. And thank you so much for the £5 donation as well. It's going straight into the CMF fund. Let's go. Can you not? And I'll answer that question as well, but let me just do this one first. But thank you, Lena. So, regarding McGlone, regarding his perspective on Bitcoin, he has been miss and hit. So, some of his perspectives have hit on the mark regarding Bitcoin, and some of them were a complete miss. But regarding why Bitcoin, in his perspective, is not doing too well, but in reality, it is. His perspective is Bitcoin is not doing too well at all, and it seems like they're losing interest in Bitcoin. But on the other hand, we have BlackRock recently, about 2 nights ago, doing an absolute milestone on the amount of assets they have within Bitcoin. So the corporations are still interested. The institutional investors are still interested in Bitcoin ETFs. So the price might not be pushing up, but that's only because the inflows and outflows are slightly matching up as well. But what's actually happening is the retail section is being emptied out while the corporation section is packaging in. They're having all the inflows. The corporation section is having the inflows, whilst the retail section is doing all the outflows right now. BlackRock has just become the #1 Bitcoin ETF holder on assets under management right now. 2 nights ago it was announced. It was a new milestone. It used to be Grayscale who owned the biggest, essentially, Bitcoin bag. And then it was MicroStrategy below them, and then BlackRock. And BlackRock went to #2, and then BlackRock went to #1. and now it's sitting at number one and it's still growing. So his indication that it's doing terrible and it doesn't look like it's going to do any sort of good, and we could be expecting some volatile stages. Volatile stages is something that you should always be expecting in any market space. Even if the market is doing incredibly well, speed bumps are going to come along the way as usual. However, on that matter of is it doing bad or good, the numbers show it's doing good in terms of the inflow that's coming in from institutional investors. The next investors right now into the market space are institutional investors. So with BlackRock reaching number one regarding the number one ETF king in the ETF space on blockchain technology, it shows that the numbers are there to prove it. Yes, we're not seeing price action on Bitcoin reaching new heights, but there is a transform. There's basically something that's happening inside the crypto space where the retail section is giving back to the corporations. The retail are jumping out while the corporations are coming in. And the S1 filings show that as well with the SEC. If you look at the S1 filings, there are more institutions in play than ever before. About 1,200, 1,500 institutions in play. And that's just for Bitcoin ETFs, but also there's the other institutional play for XRP as well, on that matter. Now, so that was his perspective. This was my perspective regarding the matter. Is he wrong? Is he right? He's 50-50 is what I would have to say. Yes, we're not seeing price action, but there's still a lot of movement happening. Now, the next news topic to talk about on tonight's slideshow is regarding the Norwegians. So apparently, right now, indirectly, each Norwegian now indirectly holds $27 worth of Bitcoin as the sovereign wealth fund increases its crypto investments. So apparently each Norwegian indirectly holds about $27 worth of Bitcoin without them knowing it, because their sovereign, essentially wealth fund, is invested into Bitcoin ETFs without them knowing it. So imagine waking up and having about $27 in Bitcoins and not knowing about it. It's basically what's happening in Norwegian. But before we go through that news, let's consider the comment section first. Can you not transfer ACH to a Tangent wallet without paying ETH first? It depends. Okay, if you want to send Ethereum to if you want to send ACH to Tangent wallet, if you're sending ACH from any exchange, so if you're sending ACH from Binance or Coinbase or Crypto.com, then you don't need Ethereum to cover the charges. The exchange is going to do that for you. But if you're sending essentially ACH from Trust Wallet to Tangent, for example, to Tangent Wallet, then Trust Wallet needs you to have Ethereum so you can cover the charges in terms of the gas fees in Ethereum for you to be able to do the transaction. So if it's Trust Wallet to Tangent, for example, because it's wallet to wallet, you need to have Ethereum to cover the gas fees for ACH to be able to go into Tangent. But if you're transferring ACH from Binance, Crypto.com, Kraken, Coinbase, an exchange, you don't need to have Ethereum on the exchange to transfer the asset, because the exchange will do that for you in terms of the gas fees. So if it's wallet to wallet, you need to have it. You need to have Ethereum to cover the fees if it's wallet to wallet. If it's exchange to wallet, then you don't need Ethereum to cover the fees. You don't need Ethereum. Let's go, Lena. Let's go, Lena. Honestly, thanks so much for the donation, Lena. Absolutely amazing. Just look at Nancy Pelosi. Follow her stocks. You won't do wrong by yourself. Facts, what Ronnie said as well. It's a pleasure, Miles. Thank you, Lena. Let's go. So, each Norwegian now indirectly holds $27 in Bitcoin as sovereign wealth fund increases its crypto investments. Norway's $1.7 trillion sovereign wealth fund has had a strong start to the year, achieving double-digit growth, reducing its exposure to major tech companies, and increasing its involvement in the crypto market space. Norges Bank Investment Management, which manages the fund by reinvesting revenue from Norway's oil reserves, has notably increased its indirect exposure to Bitcoin in 2024. Vital, a senior analyst at K33 Research, analyzed the data and said to detail that the funds involving crypto exposures during the first half of 2024 by expanding its investments in crypto-related companies like Coinbase, Marathon Strategy, and Block Inc. Essentially, the fund has increased its indirect Bitcoin holdings by 62% in the first half of the year. Vittel also suggests that the increase is likely due to the algorithm-based sector weighing in the risk management strategies rather than the deliberate efforts to accumulate Bitcoin. Currently, Norway's investment bank holds 2,446 Bitcoins, valued at approximately $142.9 million. On a per capita basis, this equates to about $27 worth of Bitcoin for each of Norway's 5.5 million residents. Vittel also noted that if the fund had intentionally essentially aimed to increase its Bitcoin exposure, there would be a more direct initiative and had significantly larger investments. Nevertheless, this development underscores Bitcoin's maturation as the asset and its growing presence is diversified portfolios. Bitcoin's value has risen over by 30% this year, driven by the surge to tech stocks and new regulations that allow cryptos to be included in exchange-traded funds (ETFs). Norway's sovereign wealth fund, established in the 1990s, was designed to reinvest the national substantial oil wealth globally, spanning various asset classes and regions within focus on the long-term returns. In the first half of 2024, the fund grew by 8.4%, with equity investments essentially seeing a 12% rise. However, the fund slightly underperformed its benchmark, the FTSE Global All Cap Index, by 0.04%. The equity investments delivered a very strong return in the first half of the year, mainly driven by a surge in technology stocks due to the increased demand for artificial intelligence solutions, said Nokul Tangen, the CEO of Norges Bank Investment Management. During the same period, the fund reduced the stakes in companies like Meta, Novo Nordisk, and ASML. So, apparently, Norwegians own about $27 worth of Bitcoin indirectly. They don't even know it. But Norway is not the only one. Norway, regarding pension funds being invested into Bitcoin companies, to cryptocurrency companies, is not the only one. Regarding pension funds in general, South Korea has heavy investments in Coinbase, the same way Norway does. Japan has heavy investments in also regarding their pension funds in Coinbase, essentially shares or block shares and so on, similar shares that they have going on. But it seems like there's a massive shift happening inside the pension fund space, where pension funds are going towards blockchain-related projects and also indirect crypto purchases from ETF spaces, rather than their usual companies they would be investing into. So Norway would be usually invested into Meta, for example, or Google or Apple, for example, but instead they're now opting in for Coinbase shares or block shares or Marathon Digital, which is a massive corporation for Bitcoin mining. So it's nice to see that happening, honestly. It's also something that was pointed out. A very long time ago by Nicholas. Nicholas is a JP Morgan analyst. About 4 months ago, Nicholas suggested, the JP Morgan analyst, he suggested that pension funds are going to start going towards essentially blockchain-related companies and ETF spaces, and a lot of pension funds from different around the world are going to get involved in that space. So Nicholas from JP Morgan was correct on the matter of pension funds entering the crypto space, without a doubt, because not only do we have New Jersey, Michigan, and a few other states inside the United States also involved in pension funds regarding going towards blockchain assets, but we have Norway now entering the fields, pension funds going towards that sort of assets. So do we have in South Korea as well, Japan as well, Singapore as well. A lot of countries, pension funds are no longer going towards traditional companies like Apple, Meta, Google, and so on. They're actually going towards Coinbase shares and so on. So there's a shift happening right now inside the market space. There's a massive shift happening. Where before they never saw any interest in these types of companies, and now they're seeing a lot of interest in these types of companies. And that's only due to the amount of regulations we have in place. 2024 is the year of paperwork, basically. It's the year of the world transforming slowly into a digital world. Let's see where we want to start a comment section before we go for the next news on tonight's live show. Let's go. Donald Trump has over $1 million in crypto. He is all in. There wasn't a time he wasn't a believer. Now he's a turn over $1 million. That is true. Donald Trump was against cryptocurrencies a very long time ago. However, now he has 3 crypto projects, owns quite a lot of Ethereum and some Bitcoin as well. And his son is also starting up a decentralized platform, decentralized crypto platform, blockchain platform, where it's going to be going against the traditional banking space. So Donald Trump is trying to take over America in a positive way, and his son is trying to take over the banking world. It's a father and son team. I'll be honest, his son is trying to take over the banking world, and his father is trying to control the United States in a positive way. But it is true, yep, he owns $1 million. Is it just me, or does anyone else see the fidget spinner? Is it me, or just does anyone else see the fidget spinner? What fidget spinner? In the logo. What fidget spinner? Glenda, good to see you. How you doing? I think it's just you, Ronnie. Hello, Miles of CMF. Glenda, let's go. Canada's investment funds are UK water infrastructures. That's also true as well. China owns quite a lot of UK infrastructure as well. Hey, Miles, hope you and your family are doing well. Thanks for reaching out, for sharing your information. Love for beauty. Thanks so much for the kind words. Necklace is crap, and because pension phones realize the banks are actually bankrupt. Correct. Yeah. They basically, yes, they did realize that banks aren't doing it for them, and traditional assets are not definitely doing it for them either. Do you think there are a lot of black money going into all these campaigns through crypto? Do I think that some of these political campaigns are being funded with crypto assets in an illicit type of way? Yes. Whenever you have politicians, corruption is somewhere nearby. It's just a fact. At this point, it's just a fact. Whenever you have a politician, there's corruption somewhere nearby. It could be a prime minister, it could be a president, it could be a congressman, it could be a regular politician of a small county. Corruption is always somewhere nearby. So regarding crypto assets being funneled in some sort of corrupt and illicit way, definitely keep that into consideration, 100%. What up, Miles of CMF? Ray, let's go. How you doing? Good to see you as well. But yes, Scott, I agree with regarding your question. Yes, corruption is always nearby. And it's not just related to crypto assets, but in general, even in fiat terms, it's always nearby. And is your question next going to be, is Donald Trump getting illicit money through cryptocurrencies? Possibilities getting donations, but Donald Trump can't be going through that issue. But regarding Donald Trump, if your next question is going to be related to Donald Trump, is Donald Trump getting some sort of illicit money from cryptocurrencies? He wouldn't risk it, because Donald Trump knows there are too many eyes on him. So he wouldn't really risk the idea of getting some sort of illicit money through cryptocurrencies. His cryptocurrencies are all on public chains. No sort of privacy tokens are going towards him. They could be, we never know. But I'm very doubtful he's going to be risking it, because he knows that they're trying everything to take him out. I mean, they even try to take him out of one of his rallies, and then they try to essentially, take him to prison for indictments and so on. So he wouldn't risk some sort of under-the-table cryptocurrency deals or privacy deals. But the other politicians, I mean, Kamala Harris is just head to toe in money. So is Sleepy Joe. He just doesn't know it. But you never know regarding Trump. He's probably done, he's probably got some illicit transactions as well. But right now, in this particular time, if he's smart enough, he wouldn't risk it, because he knows he's being looked at every angle. Kamala Harris is not being looked at all. Kamala Harris can do anything she wants and get away with it, because she's a part of them. Biden could do whatever he wants and get away with it, because he's a part of them as well. Anybody from that group, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and so on and so on, Hillary Clinton, they can do whatever they want, and they will get away with it. On the other hand, Trump is going to have some difficulties in this particular time trying to do some illicit activities, because they are trying to take him out in every single way. So if he's smart enough, he wouldn't do any sort of illicit activities. And he doesn't have to, because he has a lot of money. He has a lot of money to play around with. Kamala Harris is broke. Joe Biden was broke. Everybody from that side, from Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Clinton, and so on, they were all broke. They became rich by doing dirty things. Trump, on the other hand, he was a businessman, made his money. He doesn't need crypto illicit money to fund his lifestyle. He has money to fund his lifestyle. So it'd be quite dumb of him to do that. So I don't think he will do it. One, he's been looked into 24/7, and he knows he's been looked into 24/7. And two, he has money, so he wouldn't risk that at all for a few $1,000s in cryptocurrencies. But the other ones, they're broke. Kamala Harris is broke. Biden's broke. Everybody inside the Biden administration is broke. Yes, corruption equals politicians. Just check the dictionary. Yeah, pretty much. I was reading that the XRP ledger is designed to not have imperishable loss. How is that possible? How is that possibly? In terms of what? In terms of transactions getting lost? Elaborate, Leaf. Trump, Harris, Kennedy, Biden. I think all of them. He doesn't need to pay the big man, pretty much. The best time to rob a bank is when no one thinks you're going to rob it, which is also a fair point. The way he's competing to get money is to send a note to his supporters anywhere from $5 to $25. How did Harris, raise so much money in so little time? Great question. How did Kamala Harris raise so much money in so much little time? One of the countries behind, and countries is what I mean, behind Kamala Harris is Iran. Iran is behind Kamala Harris. And she is getting fundings from random, essentially through legitimate companies, but those legitimate companies' fundings are coming from shell companies. And those shell companies, if you trace about 100 shell companies together, you'll get an indication of an Iranian oil head. So Iran is also funding Iran was funding Joe Biden in a sense as well, with Joe Biden paying Iran that ridiculous amount of money, and then that war happened a week later. Joe Biden profited from that war, so did Iran, the war that's going on still. But regarding Kamala Harris, she's getting funding from Iran as well, the Iranian government. I mean, the Iranian government yesterday came out that they were infiltrating essentially the ChatGPT. This is how desperate Iran is. You can tell how desperate the Iranian government is when yesterday they got caught out by ChatGPT, essentially OpenAI, that they were infiltrating OpenAI to give out fake responses against Joe Biden. When the retail section asked about about Trump, ChatGPT will say Trump has no plans, Trump is a bad person, so on, is what ChatGPT would say as a response, because Iran's hackers essentially were creating accounts and feeding fake falsified articles to ChatGPT to change the algorithm and make Trump look bad, is what OpenAI realized. God knows for how long it was going on for, but that's when they realized it. So this is how desperate Iran is, the Iranian government, to not put Trump in power, because it's big. As I said previously, America, the result of who's going to be the next president, of who is going to be the next president of the United States, is not just US related. It's worldwide related. If Kamala Harris is chosen as the next president, then the wars will continue. Russia's wars will continue. China's wars that are about to be starting will continue. Iran's wars will continue. And Kamala Harris's campaign will be making money because of all the war scenarios. So who's chosen as next president of the United States is impactful for the rest of the world as well. It's not just for United States citizens. On the other hand, if Trump is chosen, the war with Russia and Ukraine will stop. The war with essentially Israel will fast forward very quickly, and Iran will go broke again because nobody will buy oil off them. So it's impacting everything right now. Who is going to be the next president of the United States is bigger than, the housing crisis. And I'm not trying to be, not caring whatsoever in this matter, but who is going to be the next president of the United States is bigger than the housing crisis inside the United States, is bigger than the homeless crisis inside the United States, is bigger than the retail section of the United States. Who is the next president of the United States is bigger than that. We're talking about a large scale of how much the impact's going to be, where war is going to play into a factor of, or how some diseases will be spread around the world, or how hacking situations will progress, and which country making profits from random wars. There are so many factors in play that it's bigger than the houses crisis, the immigration crisis, than the homeless crisis. Is bigger than all these factors at what's at risk right now for who is the next president of the United States. It's a worldwide crisis situation of who's next, Trump or Kamala. There's a much more bigger play going on. And countries are trying to manipulate the results, with Iran trying to manipulate ChatGPT, which is quite a pathetic attempt. But also, Iran has been funding some Kamala Harris campaigns as well. These random protests you see happening sometimes in the United States is actually funded by Iran. And where did Iran get the money from? Joe Biden. And how did Iran get the money from Joe Biden? Well, because Iran and essentially the United States were doing prisoner swaps, and Joe Biden decided, let me add some money on top. And that some money was billions of dollars. And Iran's government was broke at that time because of what Trump did to them, because Iran couldn't sell oil. So that means they weren't making money. They couldn't sell gas. That means they weren't making money. And then Iran and America do prisoner swaps, one by one prisoner swaps. And America goes, here's some money on top. And then about a week later, a war starts in the Middle East. So it's a much more bigger play of who's the next president. And the protest, sometimes that keeps on happening in the US, the protest that sometimes happens in the UK and wherever, they're actually, some of them are funded by Iran as well, on purpose, for distractions. And where do they get the money from? Joe Biden. There's a much more bigger play than the housing crisis in the United States, or the grocery prices, or the gas prices, or the homeless situation, or the immigration situation. There's a much more bigger play here of who's the next president of the United States. People don't realize the impact the United States still has on the entire world. And people are just willy-nilly just, going, oh, Kamala, we're voting for Kamala. Honestly, I mean, one person will bring peace and stop everything. One person will continue everything. And who do you think the continuing person is going to be? And who do you think the one's going to be that stops everything? And ironically, the people that couldn't tell what a woman was about 6 months ago are now voting for a woman. Which, gender shouldn't be a situation of who's the next president. It could be a woman or a man. But the person to be chosen should be somebody that makes their own decisions, not somebody that's fed information to make decisions. There are plenty of incredibly smart women out there who are a billion times better than Kamala Harris. Smart, and I know quite a lot of intelligent executive board members of banks that I know that are women, and they are incredibly smart, and they can do 10 times, a billion times better job than Kamala Harris. They're much more intelligent. They can describe to people what a cloud data storage is. Again, if you haven't seen the video, go and watch it, of Kamala Harris trying to describe to somebody how a cloud storage works. She said you take files from your cabinet, put it inside the sky in the clouds. It's the most dumbest way of somebody explaining data storage to someone. But I know intelligent women that could do a billion times better job than her. So again, it's got nothing to do with her being a female, but she's, Kamala Harris is the dumbest person that could be running for this. But yeah, ironically, the people that couldn't, tell the difference between what is a woman are now voting for a woman. They're going, because we're voting for her because she's a woman. But about a week ago, they couldn't tell you what a woman is. In terms of the AMM on the ledger, when you put in, you will get out. What I was reading didn't explain. Wait, let me see where I was. I was here. But yeah, it's a much more bigger play here. It's bigger than, the housing crisis, the gas crisis, the grocery crisis, and the immigration crisis. This is way bigger. Who's the next president of the United States is going to dictate what's going to be happening next around the world. That's how big of a play it is. And it's only because of who's, rolling for this political campaign. Because if it was, for example, if Trump wasn't in the equation, and it was just Kamala, for example, and Joe Biden. Just imagine, for example, the next presidential candidates were only Kamala or Biden, for example. It doesn't really matter who you vote for. They're both the same. They're both being controlled by the same people. So it doesn't really matter. But because you have somebody like Trump, who is difficult to control, he adds an extra situation to the equation. But if it was, for example, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is your only two candidates, then it really doesn't matter because they're never in charge. Neither is Joe Biden in charge or Kamala Harris in charge. But because it's this time around, it's these groups of people that are being controlled, and then you have Trump, who is difficult to control, it adds something else to the equation. In terms of the MA on the ledger, what you put in will get out. Incorrect. What was reading didn't explain. Regarding AMM, I'll put inside Telegram group, please. I'll put a description with. I heard she took Biden's budget, even she was not supposed to. Yep. If you can manipulate the data, the lie will tell itself. Facts. Only reason the US didn't fall into recession was due to the manufacturing of weapons. Also facts. Kamala Harris said you store your crypto in the cupboard. Yeah, I know. It was the most dumbest thing I ever saw. Was Kamala Harris trying to describe to people how data storage works. She said you take your files from the cabinet and you open the lock and you take it from the cabinet and then you put it in this cloud above your head. It was the most dumbest way anybody. And this person is going to be in charge of a country. That's a country that's going to be leading blockchain technology. I mean, a 12-year-old could do a better job than Kamala Harris at explaining blockchain technology. Honestly, my nephew could do a better job at explaining blockchain technology than Kamala Harris could explain data storage. Check out the Territorial Commission and the Burger Group. All the world's one presenters are members. We have our own club called the 99ers. Basically, the 99ers. Yep. But yeah, definitely a much more bigger play here. Honestly, it's a much more bigger play for the United States people and for the rest of the world of who is the next president of the United States. Much more bigger things in play here than the housing crisis in the US, or the homeless crisis in the US, or the grocery, the gas prices, or the immigration situation. There's a much more bigger play here of who's the next president of the United States. And those situations are irrelevant compared to what's the bigger play here. Because those things will never get fixed. The homeless crisis will never get fixed in any country, okay? At all. Homelessness will never get fixed in any country. And people should just give up on that idea. Because for governments, everybody has to, bring some sort of make some sort of a money for the government to give any sort of care, for example. If you do good in life, for example, you get a 9-to-5 job, you're paying taxes. If you're paying taxes, the government likes you and will help you in some sort of a way. If you go to prison, you're making money for the government as well. You're making money for the government as well because they're private companies. So the government can make money from you if you do a 9-to-5 job and you're a good citizen. The government can make money from you if you go to prison because they're private companies. They get funded and they're all on the stock market as well. So crime goes up. Those private prison companies go up in value as well if crime rises. So if you accidentally see crime rise, there's a scenario why, because they're private companies. So if you do good in life, you pay taxes and you're making the government money. If you do bad in life, you go to prison and essentially you make the government money as well because they're private companies regarding prisons. That people can bet on you. In other words, the government can bet on you if you do good in life. They can bet on you if you do bad in life. Now, in the middle, you have homeless people, which they add nothing for the government to even look into because they can't make money from you. The government cannot bet on you if you're a homeless person because you're not in prison for them to make money off you and you don't have a 9-to-5 job for them to make money off you. So it means you're in the middle. And if you're in the middle, it means they're not even looking at you. So regarding any government trying to fix homelessness, it's never going to work out because they're never going to look into it. Governments want to bet on you because if you do good, it means you're making some company money, which means it's on the stock market, they can bet on you. If you go to prison, it's a private company that builds that prison, which means they can bet on you. If you're homeless, you add nothing to the equation for them, which means the government will never look into you. They don't even care if you make it the next day. because they can't make money from you if you're homeless, but they can make money from you if you go to prison. They can make money from you if you do good and get a 9-to-5 job, but they can't make money from you if you don't. So the homeless situation will never get fixed in any scenario. In any country, that situation is never going to get fixed. That's why they will never get fixed. That's why they'll never look into it. And that's why they'll never bring it up as an equation either. So a homeless situation is never going to get fixed inside the United States. That's not even an equation. The other side is essentially the housing crisis. Will that get fixed? Maybe if the bankers stop the greed, which is a dream. If it'd be an absolute miracle if bankers stop greed, which will never happen either. So the housing crisis will still continue. On the other side as well, regarding the immigration status, immigration won't stop either because they want everybody on CBDCs and social credit system wallets. So immigration won't stop either. So those situations are never going to get fixed. Gas prices coming down, not possible. Unless Trump is president and the US starts essentially, digging for oil, then the gas prices will come down in the US. If Kamala is chosen, gas prices will not come down inside the US. They will actually continue going skyrocketing higher and higher every year or every 6 months. And they'll blame it on Putin, for example, because Putin's having a war scenario, so gas prices are going up, which is the most dumbest thing to ever be possible. Because what's actually happening is Putin is selling oil. The data has came out, okay, for the UK as well. Putin, Russia, is selling oil to India, and India is selling oil higher at a much more higher price to the UK and to the US and to everybody else, because the US and the UK can't buy oil directly from Russia because Russia is sanctioned, which means Russia sells oil cheap to India. India bumps up the price and sells it to the West. How dumb is that plan in general? Just think about how dumb is that plan in general. You're buying the same oil for double the price, or for a little bit higher on the price. But that's how dumb essentially that situation is right now. The data has come out that the UK is buying a lot of Russian oil at a much more higher price from India. So imagine how dumb that movement is right now. So there's a lot of dumb movements going on right now inside the world. There's a lot of dumb movements going on around the world. There's a lot of waste in terms of money that's happening around the world as well. There's a lot of greed happening, which none of these things will get fixed. The homeless situation will never get fixed. The housing crisis will never get fixed. Everything's just going to get much more worse. And if Kamala's chosen, it will get 10 times worse. If Trump is chosen, there'll be something interesting added to the equation. He will start digging for oil in the US, which means gas prices will come down. He will stop the wars, which means the markets will become less volatile. There's a lot of positives on his side. Honestly, the situation between Russia selling oil to India and then India selling it back to the UK because the UK can't buy it directly from Russia is like when you have two friends and you don't speak to one of them and you're sitting at the same, honestly, it's like you have two friends and you. So there's 3 people sitting at the table and having dinner and you can't speak to one of your friends. So you tell your other friend to pass the salt. How dumb does that sound, honestly? The scenario of it is just ridiculously stupid. It's like, I can't talk to this person. You tell him to say this. How about you tell him yourself? And how about you start buying oil directly for a cheaper price because you're buying the same oil for double the price? You're not being smart here. Russia's still selling oil and you're paying double the price. And this Biden administration is letting this happen because they're skimming off the top. Because Biden's broke and because the Biden administration is broke and they're all money hungry. So they're all skimming from the top of this stupid plan that's going on. Roma is how she raised the capital. That, yeah. In terms of the AMM, I'll send you that. Only reason the US didn't form recession, yeah. Kamala Harris said cupboard, yep. And I read that one. Okay, it was here. I was here. Rooney, you said inflation is created by the government because they print money they put into the situation of fear, pretty much. Miles, are you a member of the Bilderberg? You're highly intelligent and know the financial markets. I'm investing in miles. Let's go, Scott. Thanks for the kind words. No, but I can smell BS before it happens 10 miles down the road. It's just my background inside the corporate sector. I understand manipulation and corruption, and I can easily read any sort of article or any sort of PDF documentation and easily come up to 3 outcomes that could possibly weigh out. And then I'll look for some sort of factual information to back my outcomes, and which reassures me that I was correct. But the government provides shelter during COVID, but all of a sudden they can't. That's like the pot calling for the callback. Honestly, facts, really. 25 kilograms of polythene tank in the UK is 35 pounds, and in Germany with no pipeline is 19 euros. Explain that one. Honestly, corruption. Russia is now the 5th largest economy. Even with sanctions, they don't work. They are manipulation. Facts. As I mentioned last time, turns our America is just a corruption. My mom gonna vote for Kamala. No. Good night, Miles and CMF family. Funky brother, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Now, the next news on tonight's live show, Funky brother, you're actually missing out on this particular news, which I'm about to say now, which is Ripple CLO. Ripple CLO says the public verdict is in. So a lot of people inside the crypto space hate Ripple, and a lot of people like Ripple. And a lot of people hate XRP, and a lot of people like XRP. So it's a 50-50 type of ratio situation regarding XRP and Ripple. I particularly like Ripple because, but particularly I understand what Ripple's trying to achieve. So you could say I like it, but I understand what Ripple's trying to achieve. I know their contracts in and out. I know their partnerships in and out. I know their money transfer licensing in and out. I know exactly the movements they're doing and why they're doing it for. Now, regarding Ripple CLO, he's made so Ripple CLO says the public verdict is in, and Ripple is the clear winner. The reason why he's stating this is because the results from this case of Ripple paying $125 million, a lot of people still inside the crypto space don't understand it. Because some people genuinely are confused, and some people are just morons who are spreading FUD. So there's a difference between confusion and an absolute moron. The people that are spreading FUD are the morons, and the people that are confused is because they're listening to the morons. There's the easy equation for you. So there's a lot of people inside the crypto space that are saying Ripple paying $125 million is bad for Ripple as a company. It's bad for their credit score paying $125 million. But they don't really understand how the corporate sector works because they've never worked inside the corporate sector on a major establishment or for a bank. And they don't understand how essentially financial markets work. They don't understand how corporate markets work in general. But they always like to give their opinions and suggest that Ripple paying $125 million is bad for their credit score. But they don't understand how the markets works, which is the ironic part. But they'll still give an opinion. Now, the long-running case between Ripple and the US Securities Exchange Commission, SEC, has finally concluded. So Ripple's chief legal officer, CLO Stewart, essentially hailed it as a decisive win for the company in the recent CoinDesk interview. So Ripple CLO did a recent CoinDesk interview where he gives his perspectives on the matter. After nearly 4 years, the court ruled that Ripple should pay $125 million for violating federal security laws in its sales of XRP to institutional investors. For Ripple, the $125 million fine represents a small fraction of the $1.95 billion the SEC was looking for. According to Stewart, the ruling shows that the SEC's approach was overreaching, and the absence of fraud or misrepresentation of terms of allegations further weakens the SEC's position. He emphasized that the court acknowledged that institutional investors received what they had bargained for. Just to repeat that one more, for anybody that's still a bit confused on the Ripple matter, or any morons out there inside the crypto space that are still spreading FUD that Ripple paying $125 million was a bad scenario. Here's, again, just for me to repeat, he emphasized, Ripple's CLO, he emphasized that, basically this is what I said as well a while back ago, but he emphasized that the court acknowledged that institutional investors received what they had bargained for, raising questions about why the SEC pursued the case so aggressively. Even the courts were confused on why are you pursuing this case, because the institutions got what they were bargaining for. Industry experts view Ripple's victory as a significant. Patrick, essentially the head of Foley and Lauder's digital asset practice, highlighted the importance of the court's ruling on secondary XRP trades. He noted that the ruling weakens the SEC's ability to argue that the token's tradings on exchanges constitute securities, a loss that could impact other cases in the crypto space. Despite Ripple's success, there are still concerns that the SEC may choose to appeal. The ruling on secondary trades set at the precedent that could hinder the SEC's enforcement efforts in other cases involving the token. One attorney expressed doubts that the SEC would accept the ruling without further challenging given the potential implications for its regulatory strategy. Because the issue with the SEC right now is they're not looking good. The SEC is looking very bad, actually. Because XRP on secondary markets has now been sealed in as not a security, and Ripple, and essentially the SEC has a Coinbase case, the SEC has a Kraken case, and Coinbase case, Kraken case, Crypto.com case, not Crypto.com, but Kraken, Binance, and Coinbase case, which they're claiming that there's a lot of securities, unregistered securities sellings happening on Coinbase and so on. Because of the Ripple case, secondary markets are not securities, it's affecting the rest of the SEC cases. And the SEC can't challenge this particular part of the Ripple case, which is a massive loss for the SEC. Ripple's next steps. As for the penalties, Stewart expressed confidence in Ripple's ability to easily cover the $125 million fine. He downplayed the significance of the court's injunction, describing it as a typical obey the law, although that does not impose any new restrictions on Ripple's operations. Just to put that in fact as well, because there's a lot of people still in this crypto space who are claiming Ripple cannot sell XRPs anymore to institutions. I don't know where they're pulling this information out of, maybe Gary Gensler's booklets, but in reality, I've even mentioned it once on a tweet that they can still sell XRP indirectly as well. So Ripple can continue, Stewart's words, Ripple can continue selling XRP in compliance with existing regulations, and the on-demand liquidity service was not found to violate the law. Just to repeat that one more time for the people at the back, which is the fathers inside the XRP space, if they are tuning into this live show, Ripple can continue selling XRP in compliance with existing regulations, and the on-demand liquidity service was not found to violate any laws. Looking ahead, the potential for the SEC appeal looms. Stewart suggested that even if an appeal is filed, the crypto industry should not be overly concerned, as an appeal courts rarely overturn district court decisions, which is all true. While Ripple's, which is basically why I'm saying if the SEC even tries to appeal any part of this case, it will get rejected. While Ripple's victory marks a pivotal moment, essentially for the company, the broader impact on the industry remains uncertain. Ripple's CEO Brad recently revealed that SEC has a dual legal clarity, and the crypto industry is hopeful, and this clarity will extend further. Ripple's legal team remains confident that the resolution of the case demonstrates the company's compliance with the law essentially, and signals a victory for the broader digital asset community. For now, Stewart emphasized on X that Ripple is the winner in this high-stake legal battle. What Ripple's CLO said is all absolute facts. Every single word this man said is absolute facts, which is also the same words I said before he even did a CoinDesk interview. But yes, it's all facts. Now, before I go any further on that, let me just consider the conversation first. Minorities will raise the vote Democrats in America. The truth hurts. Propaganda at its best. Facts. What can you see? The fidget spinner and Ripple spinner. What can you see? The fidget spinner. I have an offer. Let's get sanctioned each other and each our crypto expenses. How stupid. Amazon, Apple, and other companies have to pay a fine to the SEC, and look at them now. That's also a valid point. $125 million for Ripple is the average Joe putting £10 on red or black. Basically facts as well. What's up, Miles? CMF, Billo, let's go. How's football camp doing for you? How are you, brother? I'm doing great, Billo. How are you doing, brother? Any XRP news? I missed just that one that I just went through right now regarding Stewart pointing facts out regarding Ripple case, because there are still many people inside the crypto space who are still saying Ripple paying $125 million is bad, and they don't understand how the financial markets work, but they're still giving opinions. There's a lot of people saying that $125 million is bad for their credit score. You don't know how the financial market space works. Don't give an opinion out on it. the other people inside the crypto space as well, who are just absolute morons on the matter of saying that Ripple cannot sell XRP, the underlying liquidity is imbalanced, they can't do anything about it, Ripple's not the winner. If you don't have a law background, if you don't have a background in the corporate sector, if you don't have a background in the banking space, don't give an opinion on the banking space. Don't give an opinion about a law, any sort of law situations. Don't just give any opinions, because it makes you look stupid rather than intelligent. If you don't have a background in law, if you don't have a background in business, if you don't have a background of actually being operational inside the banking sector, don't give an opinion on that matter, because it makes you look stupid rather than intelligent. Because I've seen so many people make false assumptions about the Ripple case outcome. It's getting out of hand and it's quite ridiculous at this point. Honestly, everybody thinks just because they can read, now all of a sudden they're all Harvey Specter. I'm not even joking about that one. People think just because they can read some SEC PDF document or they can read a court ruling, all of a sudden they have a law degree from Harvard University. Just because you can read doesn't mean you can have an opinion about it. If your opinion is false, especially, it just makes it worse. You don't look intelligent, you look stupid. Football camp is good, but I'm very tired. Yep. In a couple of weeks, the competition will start. It's so needed. Let's go below. That's good, though. And just want to point out one more thing. Asking questions is perfectly fine. If you tweet out, is the Ripple outcome good or bad? That's perfectly fine. If you tweet out, is the Ripple, paying 125 million? If you ask a question, if your tweet is asking a question about the Ripple case, then that's perfectly fine. Asking questions is okay. But you being so confident with zero background in law, zero background in business, zero background inside the corporate sector, and you being so confident and tweeting out Ripple paying $125 million is bad for their credit score, Ripple paying $125 million, or Ripple can't sell XRP, you don't know what you're talking about. You have zero background in law, zero background in corporate sector, and you should not be giving opinions out to anyone. But if you want to ask a question and tweet out, for example, is the Ripple case bad or good? Is the $125 million bad or good? Is can Ripple still sell XRP? These are question tweets. That's perfectly fine. But don't be a confident, arrogant person and tweet out about things that you have zero knowledge and zero background in. Because I've seen so many influencers, just because they think they can read a court document, all of a sudden they're Harvey Specter. They go, oh yeah, this is how the law works. Or they have a degree from Harvard University. Just because you can read a document doesn't mean you have a law background. It's like when a police officer tries to arrest you and you ask him, are you trained in law? Pretty much. Facts, Ronnie. Absolutely facts. So they are not appealing for sure, right? If they appeal, it's getting rejected. Even Ripple's CLO said, if the SEC appeals, they're getting rejected. I said the same thing before this guy did an interview with CoinDesk, because I know how the law operates. Do you understand Commerce Black Laws Dictionary? You just trained legally. Or you trained? I'm trained legally. Do you think regulation will come this year, Q1, or in the Q1 in the US? Do I think regulation is going to be coming? Well, we have some regulations in the US. Congressmen are working towards that matter inside the United States in terms of regulations. They've passed some bills that on the verge of getting vetoed, but the only reason the bills that the US have decided to pass some through, but they're not official regulations, but pass some through, and they're not getting vetoed, is because Kamala Harris is right now doing a campaign to become the next president. Therefore, she's not vetoing anything congressmen want to put out. If I was a congressman inside the United States right now, I would be pushing for regulations left, right, and center for positive crypto innovation, because I know for a fact the Biden administration cannot veto anything right now because it's bad for their votes. And I know for a fact that Kamala Harris can't veto anything either. So if I was a congressman right now, this is the perfect time for any congressman inside the United States to be pushing left, right, and center for positive regulations that brings innovation inside the United States. This is the perfect time, because neither can Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, or the Biden administration, which the VP is being Kamala Harris, veto anything right now. They can't veto anything because it makes her campaign look bad. So if I was a congressman right now, I would be full throttle on crypto regulations to bring innovations, because I know for a fact that neither can Kamala Harris or the Biden administration veto anything. because it looks bad for their campaign, for their voters. So I will be pushing for regulations right now inside the crypto space in the United States. This is the perfect time to push regulations. Honestly, this is the perfect time for regulations in the United States to be happening, because Sleepy Joe, Biden administration, and Kamala Harris cannot veto anything or go against the crypto space, because this is bad for our voters. So if you're a congressman in the United States, push for regulations. Push as many regulations as you can for crypto innovation, because these three people cannot veto anything right now, because they need your votes. So push for crypto regulations. Perfect time right now. When do you think we will see the price action based on or after the 60 day or something? 60 day or something is more like it. 60 day. 60 day. Let these 60 day pass, so the spaces return to much more normality. But also, we're going to go straight into the election situation as well. And next week we have the central bank governors coming together. We're going to debate. Kamala Harris is backed by Obama and her husband, and they've been backing with very powerful people. That's true. I'll be quiet now. I can't say that word on here with his agency. It's always from, yeah. I'm looking to go to London. I want to visit Speaker's Corner. Maybe it's an idea for you to go there and discuss crypto and XRP. It's interesting. Okay, I'll think about it, Bill. Definitely. It was good to hear from you as well, Bill. I'm happy that football camp is going good for you as well. Let's go. Now, we've also reached the endings of tonight's live show as well. And Bill, it was absolutely amazing to hear from you as well, brother. And I'm very happy that everything's going great for you football camp as well. And we've also reached the endings of tonight's live show as well. And once again, Bill, it was good to see you. And once again, Joe Zemper, happy birthday as well. And Lena, thank you so much for the donation to the CMF hedge fund as well on tonight's live show. Thanks so much for the donation. So, on tonight's live show, we went through the topic of Ripple's CLO giving his verdict on the matter of how things have moved forward. We went through the topic of essentially Norwegian pension funds being essentially funded into multiple blockchain companies, and how there's a massive change happening where traditional assets are not being looked into whatsoever, traditional companies, and they're moving towards blockchain companies. I also went through the topic of Bloomberg experts giving their opinions on the market space so far. We talked about Brian Armstrong, Coinbase's CEO, giving his perspective on a new innovation project he's working on, which is connecting AI technology to crypto wallets. I also talked about on tonight's live show regarding JP Morgan, but not particularly JP Morgan itself, but two members that have left JP Morgan. And one person by the name of Amber, she was in charge essentially of JP Morgan's blockchain projects, blockchain department, and she left JP Morgan with another board executive member of JP Morgan and created their own blockchain project called Clover, which I want to keep people updated on. It's a security project. They've already raised money as well for that project through seed money, venture capital money. And it's a blockchain project, decentralized blockchain project. We also talked about tonight's live show. I went through the topic of France and China regarding the real estate market space and how that could impact the crypto market space and the stock market space. We also went through the topic of essentially the Federal Reserve regarding the data that's going to be coming up next week. So, if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. This was episode 132. I know for a very odd reason on X, it says it's episode 127, but it's actually episode 131. It's just a platform that I'm using to multi-stream, because right now I'm live on YouTube and I'm also live on X at the same time. On YouTube, it says it's episode 132. And that's correct. On X, it says it's episode 127. It's not correct. The title, for some reason, won't change. The multi-stream platform that I'm using, Restream, and they're looking into it. It's a bug in their systems, but this is actually episode 132. So, and you can tune in tomorrow for episode 133. And every day you can tune into this live show as well to know about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrency, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, and we have a live Q&A going on every single night you can get involved in. If you're watching us on X and YouTube, we also have a Telegram group you can get involved in as well. It's completely free. It's been free for over a year and a half, and it's going to stay free forever. Anybody's more than welcome to join it. It's an amazing community of people from all around the world. Everybody's very respectful to each other. So join the Telegram group as well. The link is on X if you're watching us on X. The link is on YouTube if you're watching us on YouTube. And it's called the CMF live show that you're watching right now. Stands for Crypto Miles Family. And as usual, the disclaimer of this live show, the disclaimer is not financial advice, not political advice, and what advice is only for entertainment purposes. So if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like on X. If you're watching us on X, drop a follow, drop a like on YouTube. Subscribe if you already haven't, and tune into it every single night. And get involved in the comment section. Thanks, brother. Let me know if you're thinking about going there. Appreciate it. Let's go below. I'll let you know. Thanks, Miles. Good night, everyone. Orphan, let's go. See you tomorrow sometimes usual. What was the 10 quadrillion on XRP ledger? How come it didn't move the price? Because it was a trust line, not an actual payment. If you don't hear from me again, no. Yep. All the people that are starting in Texas, and that's the new stock exchange, pretty much, yeah. Texas is becoming an absolute ground. And that's why, I'm going to be having a CoinMove office in Texas as well. I said that for a while, which is inoperational. Take care, Miles and family. Ray, see you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual. Good night, all. Thank you. JP, let's go. See you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual. Good night, Miles. I get some sleep. Troy, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Good night, everyone. Cali, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Pablo, night, Miles. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Carol, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Good night, family. Let's go, Troy. See you tomorrow, sometimes as usual. Good night, everyone. Stay well. Appreciated all the knowledge you share, Miles. Thank you so much for nice words, Leaf. I'll see you tomorrow, sometimes as usual. I will see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. See you tomorrow, same time as usual, everyone.